Previously from the Hood Blogger.
The JBM started about 85. Ak, the Muslim brother in the Fed, said, through the streets of America, whether you grew up in a two-parent household that was trying to push that 9 to 5 and get everything that you needed and not the things that you wanted, or if you had parents that were struggling with addiction and there was no food in that kitchen, for some reason, we always look up to them hustlers, man. Them hustlers, the ones that's out there moving through these streets, through these hoods, like it ain't no poverty out this joint. Like, they driving around in foreign cars, jewelry, living a life, spending money like it grow on trees, while we getting sent to the store by our parents with food stamps. We out here waiting in WIC lines and all of that. So even as a young age, you get tired of that. It's like you don't even fully understand life, but you know you don't want to be broke. So we grow up admiring them hustlers. But then you got them street guys that do things by force, by any means necessary. Whether they got to squeeze that trigger, humiliate somebody in the middle of the block on a Friday afternoon, or take that money. And these are the guys that's fair and respected. So when you got a team that has a combination of all three of these factors, now you got a legendary street team that's untouchable. Today, I'm taking y'all on the walk on these cold streets of Philly about the story of Lamont Lewis. For those of y'all that don't know, he was front line for Kaboni Savage. I'm going to make sure I put these stories out and keep them pushing. Shout out to all the new subs. This is just how we carrying it. But a lot of other states got movies out and things of that nature. So I made sure I took this lane. I talk about the history in the streets of Philly. But I'm SV Twiz, the Hood Blogger. Today, I'm going to give y'all the story of Lamont Lewis, who was front line for Kaboni Savage. A Philadelphia hitman told jurors Monday that he stepped on at least 8 people for Philadelphia drug kingpin Kaboni Savage, including 6 relatives of a suspected informant, saying simply that he had a role in his organization. Now, just to break it down, because I'm going through this ad, this is Lamont Lewis, who is labeled as a hitman as a part of the Savage organization. Now, for those of y'all that don't know or might not be familiar with this story, I'm going to put the video in the description just to get a better understanding of the life that was taken during the run of Kaboni Savage. But it's also other documentaries out there that get into further details and things of that nature. But I will tell you that it was a lot of lives taken. But the thing that, Savage get stamped for a lot is these lives getting taken. And, at the end of the day, he was definitely a savage, but he was able to send people out to do things because of the respect that those people had for him. It wasn't like nowadays where people was even doing like PUA and stuff like that, where they had just, they was giving young boys money, or even if you getting bread on the regular, they'd give a young boy bread these days, and the young boy get the job done by somebody that might not be willing to get in that field as well. But Savage was in that field, and they knew he got busy when it came to protecting his organization, so he was able to send individuals out to go do things. But this guy right here is admitting that he was there during that firebombing, where they took those 8 lives, and it was a family, it was children ranging from like 11 months to probably like 12 or 13. So he was going there to get this job done, to try to wipe out, a person that they thought that was going to end up telling, or that was giving us, giving a statement. So with that being said, he ended up telling himself, even though he was going to the house to go wipe out an alleged suspected informant. But I'm just going to continue with the story. Lamont Lewis is testifying at Savage's federal racketeering trial. Savage and 2 other men face the death penalty if convicted of stepping on 11 people during Savage's reign atop North Philadelphia drug war. Savage is already serving 30 years for a federal kingpin conviction. Lewis said that he and his cousin, defendant Robert Merrit, firebombed the row house in Philly in 2004 on orders from Savage and his sister, Kadida Savage, who was also on trial. The family of the suspected informant, Eugene Twin Coleman, lived there, and 2 women and 4 children died in the fire, including Coleman's mother and his infant son. The arson is amongst the worst retaliation killings in the city history. Both Savage and Coleman were in prison when the hit was alleged, ordered through the messenger, Kadida Savage, who is Kaboni's sister. The firebombing went unsolved for years. This is what a lot of people don't know. They think that it happened and, it had automatically, like they automatically got charged for it. No, that ain't how it worked. The firebombing went unsolved for years until federal authorities charged Savage in 2011 with running a deadly racketeering enterprise. In his first day on the witness stand, Lewis explained why he agreed to step on people for Savage's organization. "That's what I did for the team. That's my role," the burly tattoo prisoner said. Lewis expects to serve at least 40 years in prison, but be spared the death penalty in exchange for his testimony. So he basically, he's basically doing what, a lot of people get glorified for today, where people pretty much, people don't really knock you for telling. For instance, Little Woody, I see that, he going crazy on the internet, getting a lot of bookings, and if people is loving him, which I understand, because, 99% of the people that love him, they love his character, and they also are civilians. So I understand where they can look at somebody like, wow, this guy was out here catching wreck. He out here in our face, where you can connect with these type of people on Instagram and stuff like that. But he's basically doing that role, and also the role that Alpo did, where it was once they mentioned the death penalty, he willing to tell, regardless of what he did in the streets. Reality hit once they start talking the death penalty. His family has been put in witness protection program, he said. He also acknowledged stepping on several other people unrelated to Savage's group, including a woman he hit in the face because she had stabbed him and tried to extort her drug dealer boyfriend. The boyfriend paid him the equivalent of $23,000, including $8,000 in cash, the services of the lawyer whom the dealer had a $15,000 retainer on, Lewis said. Coincidentally, he was arrested the next day in Savage's case. He told the FBI about the woman's death, and he decided to cooperate and said Monday agents had been unaware of his involvement, but another time he had agreed to step on someone for a cousin who had a problem with a man in New Jersey. That deal was a setup. The cousin was working with the FBI and the New Jersey man didn't exist. Lewis, speaking in a flat, dry voice, described his rise through a rival drug organization to his move to the Savage organization to his role as a hitman. He grew up with Savage and used to skip school and play video games at his house, Lewis said, who is now in his mid-30s. So this is somebody that Savage came out the sandbox with. He said he started selling $2 vials of cocaine under a drug dealer named Pumpkin when he was 15 to 16, lured by the chance to make money for a trip to an amusement park. My first half hour out there, I had made at least $100 to $200, he said. Within months, he rose to a position distributing to drug dealers and then proceeded to fill vials in Savage basement. He said a few years later, he came to run his own drug corner. Ronald Pumpkin got his life taken in the summer of '01. Lewis got a tattoo honoring him on his neck. So then, basically with him testifying, he testified on not only Savage, he told also on Savage's sister and also Robert Merrit. Robert Merrit was the one that was basically also with Lewis where they had went in the house. So what happened was, word had got back from Kaboni, allegedly, that this person had to get dealt with, So they was trying to say that Kaboni Savage's sister, Kadida, was the one who orchestrated the joint, basically had to drop on the house where this person was at. So when they went to the crib, Robin and Lewis, they get to the crib. Lewis come in the house and starts shooting. As soon as they kick the door and he starts shooting. I mean, he just was shooting. Like, it wasn't that nobody specifically. They call it warning shots. After that, that's when Robert allegedly lit the firebombing through that joint, and then the whole house went in flames. This is where the 8 people got their life taken. So, you know, it was a very unfortunate situation. Rest in peace to the family that got their life taken that didn't have anything to do with the streets. Now, remind you, this was early 2000s still, because like it was said, they ain't even get, you know, the indictment. All this stuff is happening like around 2011. So it's crazy, because I remember I came home from jail in '09, and I remember hearing about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was all through the news. You know, they did updates on it, because Kaboni and them, they were the first people from the city of Philly to get a death sentence in the federal jail system, in the federal penitentiary. A lot of times they might, you know, you can get life and all of that, but, you know, he got sentenced to death. So it's like where they definitely going to probably, you know, give him the needle and all of that. But you know, Savage has seemed to be unbothered. And you know, it just was a very unfortunate situation. But you see somebody that he was coming out the sandbox with ended up telling on him. And that's why for any of the youngins that's watching this, you know, the streets don't pay. The guy that's stacking boxes in the back of Walmart, or the dude that's pushing that Amazon van, a lot of times be more honorable. People's wives be more honorable standing by their side. Won't give no type of statement or nothing like that. If they is dealing with a husband, or if you got like a homie that he might work at CVS, he might get grabbed up with you. And you'd be surprised how many of them people will stand up and not even say nothing and really don't got nothing to do with anything. But then you got people that be out here that be stepping on stuff. They get busy. And then when them cuffs get on them, now they a changed man. And that's something that I could never respect at the end of the day. Either you in or you out. Especially when it comes to people that's out here that's taking lives. You know that taking somebody's life ain't right from a kid. You just got that natural instinct. So for you to be a grown man out here, it don't got no problem with knocking somebody's head off. When it get cold, don't look for a comforter. Don't look for a fireplace. You deal with that cold air. But this is just the story of Lamont Lewis. I feel like it wasn't really spoken on, so I had to separate a John by himself that ain't got nothing to do with Savage's. Well, it's gonna always have something to do with Kaboni's story, but he needed his own John. But like I said, his name Lamont Lewis, and even with him telling, you know, he still got years in the prison system. So the streets don't play. SV Twiz, the hood blogger. If anybody got any stories that y'all want me to cover, DM me on the gram at SV Twiz, or just drop a comment below. And if you're an old head, if you don't drop no comment below, or you might be an old head, might not have no Instagram, you might still be on the Facebook wave, you can email me at svtwiz, svtwizgmail to be precise. But I'm about this joint. Y'all know how I carry it. Everybody stay safe out there. Stay focused. And that's all. Ain't no more to it.